Hi everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to talk about the second month that we spent in the hospital after she was born at 28 weeks. So let me just get my notes and see what happened. So she wasn't gaining weight because she was moving too much, so the nurses had to bundle her up most of the time so she doesn't move, sleep and gain weight. And we had to make sure, and it was really hard because she had two nurses each day, and each day she had and the next day she had different nurses. The other babies crying in the, not my baby, but in the building. But she was bundled up, and even when she was bundled up, basically what she did, they bundled her up. She got on her tummy and straightened her legs, put her bum up, so she was doing this downward dog position. So even when she was bundled up, she was moving. But that was the only way that they could make sure that she's moving less and gaining a bit more weight. So that was just kind of cute. So that happened every time they put her on her tummy, so they decided to put her more on her back so she can't move as much, bundled up, So that meant that a month after she was born, she was 1,197 grams. But as soon as they didn't bundle her, she didn't gain any weight, basically. Great news. So July 20th, yay! So this was exactly 1 month and 1 day after she was born. They took her off of her CPAP machine. Like, she was getting less help with breathing anyways from the beginning. So she was getting less help with breathing from the time that, from the time that she was born, as she was able to breathe more. She was eating, she was basically like, she was on a more heavy support at the beginning and a lighter support, and then they had different machines and different masks, and then the ones that she was trying to take them off anyways, and she did. All of them, they had to go, I don't know how many days each day to go and put it back on her. But basically this was a big thing for us. It was huge because it meant she can finally breathe on her own, one step closer to getting home. Like, we knew that this is obviously the big step towards getting home. So that happened on July 20th, and I was so happy. And can you imagine when you can finally cuddle with your baby and she doesn't have she's not hooked up to a machine. The only thing that she had on was the sensors, the wires that were sensing her, and basically 3 sensors plus 1 on the hand or the feet that was monitoring her constantly, her heartbeat, her oxygenation and all that. So if she needs help, they can give her help. But no, she wasn't hooked up to the machine anymore. And so it was so much, it was like the best feeling ever to actually hug her like that, and it was one step closer to hugging your baby like you should, without all the wires hanging out. So it was amazing. I'm pretty sure she was crazy happy too, because she hated those machines. And also her head was a little alien head deformed because of the hat. Like, she had to have a hat on to keep the mask on for breathing. So from now on we could finally work on her head shape as well, because she didn't have her hat on all the time. And because she didn't need the breathing tube in her nose anymore, they took out the feeding tube from her mouth and they put it in her nose instead. And that's she was taking it out of her mouth anyways, and they had to put it back, and she was taking it out of her nose as well, but that meant that her mouth is finally free. So she could actually, if she wanted to try breastfeeding, she could. So it was all an amazing experience, and it was a really good day for us at the hospital. So it was also an amazing day because, as I said, now we could see if she can breastfeed. So at that point she would be only 32 weeks in the pregnancy, and most babies so tiny that she was and so preterm cannot breastfeed at that point. Well, I will make a video about breastfeeding. So most babies have it, like lots of babies have an issue. Breastfeeding has so many issues that you can't imagine, but I will make another video just about that. But now I'm just gonna talk about this one because this was my first time ever that I could put her to the breast and see if she would go for it. And she went for it. She went for it, and she was crazy, and of course it was the best feeling ever. I mean, every mother knows that every time you breastfeed your baby is amazing, but the very first time is so special, and you have this crazy feelings, these crazy hormones. You are so happy, you're bonding with the baby at a different level, another level. And then with my baby, I mean, I've seen her for 4 months. I was holding her for 4 months. For 4 weeks, I was holding her, but I could never actually breastfeed her. I was pumping at that point I was actually pumping every 2 hours, if you can imagine, because my breast milk just didn't want to increase the supply as it should have. And I was actually pumping every 2 hours, so you can imagine how much sleep I got in. But I was hoping that once with this breastfeeding, it's gonna help me with my milk increase as well. And I was on herbs. I did take fenugreek and blessed thistle for increasing my milk supply, and it did work. Like, I had much more milk if I took the fenugreek and blessed thistle than when I didn't, because I was taking it for about a month, and then I stopped to see and because after a month it seemed like it's not doing anything anymore, and then I stopped taking it for a while. I went back on it, and basically while I was breastfeeding, this was for the whole time I was on and off of those herbs, because you kind of get used to it, and then nothing happened, then you stop taking it, and then you start taking it again, and then it helps a little bit. So I was during the whole breastfeeding, but at this point I was on the herbs because I was trying to increase my milk, and I was pumping every 2 hours. But back to this wonderful day that I was actually able to breastfeed her. I have to tell you that everyone was amazed that she can breastfeed, that she did. But she was amazing. Like, she started sucking on the breast, and right away, you know, milk started to flow. It was just great. So for the next few days she didn't have finally the CPAP machine on, and I was actually visiting her twice a day, and it was just so nice to see her being completely you know, so peaceful without all these wires. The head shape started to get back to normal, that the head wasn't pushing on her, and she was gaining weight really nicely as well. So we had a couple of nice days there. Also, when she was born, her ear the cartilage wasn't in there yet, it was just skin, and by now you could actually see that there was cartilage in it, so she had actually a normal ear, not just a flap of skin. But if we talk about that, the ear, it's back to the hospital. So when they were changing her tube, and they were dealing with the feeding tube, with the CPAP machine, the mask, and all that. And I don't know who has crazy big nails there, but I don't even know if you can see it. But basically, one day we go in, and a couple of weeks after she was born, we see on her ear that was still skin only at that point, is bleeding, and I'm like, what the heck has happened to her ear? And basically, what happened to her ear is someone, while they were changing her, actually scratched her ear so much that a piece came off, like basically split. Her ear was split. It wasn't crazy obvious, and I don't think you can see it. It's still there. So basically right now it looks like she just has a little skin tag from her ear. I'm pretty sure you cannot see it from that point. I can see it, and we will get it removed once she's old enough. but that was from the hospital as well. And they didn't even admit to that. They were like, oh, she probably scratched herself. With what? She didn't even have nails. Like, she had nails, but it was like paper. You know, like, how the heck would she scratch herself and split her ear? Like, really. Anyways, let's get her down. Let's go down because you're just so busy. So anyways, that's just back to, I just had to tell you that because we were talking about the ear. Also, she discovered her fingers and her thumb, and she started sucking on her fingers and her thumb when she was hungry, which was super cute. I have videos about that. Actually, if you want to see it, I uploaded videos about that. And then it's so cute because when you gave her the pacifier, she put her hand on it so it doesn't fall out. She was getting really smart at that point. And then we had just one setback, one day of setback, but it was emotionally a huge setback. So we had this amazing few days of finally being without the CPAP machine. So basically, now that she didn't have the CPAP machine, we could cuddle with her so freely and so well. I started to go in twice a day. And I cuddled with her in the morning, and then Dad cuddled with her in the evening. But so we did have one setback that happened, that I went in the morning. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be so amazing. This was actually on a weekend, so we both went in the morning with her dad. And they're like, oh, it's gonna be so nice to cuddle with her. And then we went there, and at that one point, you know, like we go in and they are putting her back on the machine. Like, she wasn't back on the CPAP machine yet. They were just about to put her back on it.